Hello, everyone, and welcome to the July 25th edition of the Zooch and Wild podcast. It is our third conference in our off-season conference recap series we are doing. And today, Zooch, we have, I think, maybe not the best conference, but definitely the most fun conference for its parody, crazy moments, and just honestly hilarious players and coaches in this conference. We got the Big 12 today. I'm fired up about this, man. I love the Big 12.
It's a league of literally not knowing what to expect. Like, oh, everyone
It
is gonna
is.
have screen time, I guess.
It is. No, and I was listening to another podcast. I forget what it is. It's gonna kill me because they actually do a pretty good job. I've seen some of their clips, and they were saying if you could choose one conference to watch for the rest of your life, which one would it be? And I honestly think I'd choose the Big 12. Like, it's just so exciting. Like, it's not the best football, but, like,
Well,
there's just something about, like, a Big 12, like, 38 to, like, 35 game.
yeah, I want to see real quick.
It just has so much parity. I mean, I have in my notes, I'm like, it's a shit show. I was looking at these. I mean, we'll get into it with these schools, but I was looking, and I don't think like the bottom team win total projection. I think it's like I had the lowest at a 5.5 or 4.5, and the highest is an 8.5. It's only like a four, and that's the bottom to the worst. Like there's so many teams. It was like 7.5 win total, 7.5 win total,
Well,
7 win
and
total,
this
8 win total.
is what I wanted to see too last year. So the media had going in the preseason polls had Utah, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Kansas, and Arizona as the top five. Arizona was horrible. Oklahoma State was horrible, and Utah were horrible.
I could have
Kansas
told
State
you Oklahoma
was
State was gonna be horrible. I mean, when you got Alex
fine.
Bowman as your quarterback, I don't know
And
how.
Arizona State was picked to finish 16th.
I know. No, it's interesting. I think we both have it in some of our predictions, but the Big 12 is. I mean, I don't know if you agree with me about this, but I think that the Big 12 is usually good for one of their conference title participants being kind of like, "Oh, standard. I could see this being it." And the other one is just like, "What the hell? Like, didn't see this coming." So you kind of got to like choose. It's like, someone who you kind of saw coming and be like, "This came out of complete left field."
Yeah, and it'll be like the left field team will lose like 38-10 to like Wake Forest in week two.
No, essentially,
That's
you
how it
just
usually goes. And then they'll rattle off like 9 straight wins.
yeah.
They'll have like a loss to another bad team and then be in the Big 12 championship game.
No, essentially. Yeah, let's jump into the teams. As always, we go alphabetical order. So just to make things easier, and we're gonna start with a newer Big 12 team, the Arizona Wildcats. Bear down, shout out Ski. Their win total set at 5.5. This is a team that people were, I think, and I mean, including myself, because they were my favorite team to play in the NCAA college football game, just because their passing offense was overpowered. But people were really high on them last year, and I think they're really, really low on them this year. But I'm not as low. Maybe do I think they're gonna make the Big 12 championship? Maybe not. But some people think like they're gonna be like terrible. I think Brett Brent is just too good of a coach to let them be terrible 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and like I mean, I think because I'm trying to. Brett Brennan left, went to Arizona really late going into last year, right? It was like mid January, I want to say.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was
know.
after the national championship.
Yeah, because I don't remember. Like obviously, oh yeah, because it was Kalen DeBoer leaving Washington. That's what started the whole. That's what started to get Brett Brennan to go to Arizona. Is
Mhm.
Kalen DeBoer left? Oh my God, what's the coach that went to Washington? I can't think of his name right now.
Jed
He went.
Fish.
Jed Fish went to Washington. Brett Brennan came over from San Jose State. That I knew it was like late, but I was like trying to think what because it's always a domino effect of one coach leaving that causes like four to leave. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I mean, they honestly still probably have the best quarterback in the league. I think.
Yeah,
Like, I
Fish
mean,
does
even
good.
and
Fish
he
does.
had like He had like a 25-5 touchdown interception ratio last year, which is somewhat surprising for a team that went 4-8. I mean, I was a little bit shocked that he stayed, I guess I will say, because I don't Arizona's not really known for its I don't even know if I can name the NIL structure, like the name of it at
I
Arizona.
think
I
they
think they have money, but they haven't. The Big 12 is weird because I feel like there's a bunch of teams who have, like Texas Tech, has really just been like, we're gonna pour money into this in hopes that we win. And newsflash for people, yeah, you have to have a good NIL base to win in a Power Four conference. Sorry, despite all the 60-year-old plus people who hate it and like the younger, like try hard people, yeah, you have to like NIL matters. Sorry, that's a fact of life. No, I mean, their toughest part of their season is kind of the beginning. I want to say they end with Colorado State, Kansas, Cincinnati, Baylor, Arizona State. Colorado we'll get into, but we don't even know if like what's
they're a
going
weird
on with
squad. Yeah,
I don't even know if Deion Sanders is going to be like coaching because he's having all of his health issues right now. Cincinnati probably has I still don't know how Scott Satterfield got that job. Um, Baylor is Baylor. We'll get to them. I think they'll be pretty good. Arizona
they
State will be pretty good.
they got
But
some
I
chance to make
mean,
some noise early too with Iowa State and K State. I think those are two big tests early in the season.
yeah, and if they can win, it should be Hawaii should beat Weber State. If they could beat even just one of Kansas State, Iowa State, then they get Oklahoma State, BYU at Houston, a bye, Colorado. Like they could. That's the thing with the Big 12 though. Is like I look at them and I'm like, I would not be surprised if they're 4-8 again. I would not be surprised if they're not 9-3. Like I just don't like the Big 12 is going to have a lot. Like even last year though, what like 7 teams were between 6-3
Yeah.
and 7-2, and
Oh,
the
I
like
remember.
that's insanity.
It was like up until the last week, so it's going to become a running theme as we move on with a lot of these teams, where it's like you just kind of throw your hands up and go like, "Shit, I guess we'll see." Literally, like, I guess we'll see. But I like Arizona. I'm not as down on them as a lot of people are. Let's move on to their in-state rivals. This is a team I'd say is one of the favorites in the upper echelon. Just the story of last year and Coach Dillingham. Kind of willing this team that was kind of left for dead after Herm Edwards and using school funds to pay for parents to go to strip clubs down in Scottsdale. Um, but I mean, just what he's done with that program is incredible, and they do return a lot of talent, Zuch. Like Sam Levitt has a chance to be the best quarterback in the league. I don't think it's a talent issue, which should scare Arizona State fans. They got an absolute bitch of a schedule this year, I think. And I think
That's
they could be I think they have the trap game of the year. Week 2 versus Mississippi State in Starkville. I'm telling you right now, that could be a freaking trap game. A freaking trap game.
and that's the game they're going to have to unleash their secret weapon on the entire nation. Not many people know about the secret weapon, but he's kind of like, kind of like the forgotten character in a movie that you start watching the movie, you get a couple hours in, and then he comes back and saves the day. That secret weapon, of course, being Jeff Sims.
Oh, stop it.
Uh,
Oh, stop it. Just stop it. I mean, I mean, for those of you who don't know, the lore with Jeff Sims go back. The very first Zuch and Wild episode recorded, the very first clip in Zuch and Wild history was me shitting on Jeff Sims. Because I don't know, for anyone who's watched Jeff Sims play quarterback, number one, I'm sorry. Number two, he's a football terrorist. He terrorizes your eyeballs playing football. I'm glad he's a backup. I'm sure he's a smart guy. Maybe a grad assistant role I can see in his future. No, I don't even like that joke. Jeff Sims, if Jeff Sims sees the football field, Sun Devil Nation, you are in trouble. Let me just say that.
okay. All jokes aside, so it's like you said about their schedule. So you look at it, the Mississippi State game could be a trap game. I agree with that. But they have NAU, That one is sandwiched by NAU and Texas State. Starting September 20th through the October 18th, so roughly a month, a little over a month, but a month in the calendar. They have Baylor, Utah, Texas Tech, and they get Iowa State on November
That's tough.
1st.
That's a lot of people's
So,
1 through 4. That's a lot of people's
yeah,
like 1 through 4 or top 5 plus ASU.
yeah, I mean, they end with West Virginia at Colorado, at Arizona. It's just, and I should have prefaced this at the beginning of the show. I think based on how I wrote down all my stuff, I think there's going to be one team with one loss, and I think there's going to be a sandwich of teams that have that 2 or 3 losses, and I just don't like, I don't know, like, I think they could be 9-3 with 3 conference losses and be really good, but not make the conference title game just based on that I mean, that stretch is basically
It's
all that's all I mean, I don't know about yours, but if you look at it like Baylor, Utah, Texas Tech, Iowa State, Arizona State, I think are the pretty heavy favorites
yeah.
to win the league. Kansas State a little bit, like I've seen some people
Utah a
with
little
Kansas
bit.
State. They get you, yeah, they get you. I mean, it's just if they can get through that stretch, which is what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If they can get through that 6 game stretch at 4-2, I think they can be in the conference championship, barring they don't lose to, West Virginia, Colorado,
Very
Arizona.
possible though. It's very
But yeah, it's
possible.
possible. Then that's the hard part about it is like I think they could get through that stretch 4-2. I don't know if they would win out completely though, because there's not and I know there will be. There'll be like the 3-9 team. Don't know who it'll be, but there's a lot of I'm trying to think of the right word. Like it's very secure, and then there's not a bad team. So that was
Mhm.
the hard part about making predictions for any team in this is like I don't know that any of them are good enough to go 11-1, and I don't know that any of them will be like much worse than like 8-4. So
It's very possible, but Dillingham's a good coach. He is funny. Hopefully we get another soundbite of like him screaming at a ref with just like frat guys and his girlfriend around him and like donors just like all in a circle because that was one of the
yeah,
all-time videos last year.
it was great, and that's my final point on them is I think they can win the league, but they have to go 4-2 in that stretch, and they can't lose another conference game, which will be pretty hard. They're not, no one in this league is Texas, so it's very like this league more than anyone else. You could see like, oh, I mean, someone last year lost to. We'll get to them. I can't think of who it was off the top of my head, but I was like kind of shocked at who their losses were. I have it written
That,
down though.
that's fair. Well, let's move on to the first of many Texas teams in this conference. The school out of Waco, the Baylor Bears. This is a team that ended the year hot last year, and I think this is the smart person's pick, or the guy who's trying to be smart, the dark horse pick for a lot of people to win the Big 12. Aranda was on the hot seat at the beginning of last year, ended the year strong, and I think a lot like how Billy Napier has a lot riding on DJ Lagway, I do think Dave Aranda has a lot riding on Sawyer Robertson and whether he can make a big step. Because I was reading Phil Steele's uh, college football preview magazine, great magazine for those who want to like get some more information on all the teams before the year. He had Sawyer Robinson as his preseason first team All Big 12 quarterback. That's how high a lot of people are on Sawyer Robinson. And you look at their first 2 games of the year, I forget who they play, but I have in my
It's
notes.
Auburn and SMU. That's a
If
tough.
they
I
go
mean,
they go 2-0 in non-con, they're in the top 12 and they control their own destiny. Like, it's as simple as that. You go 2-0 in non-con with those 2 teams, you control your own destiny and you can probably drop one in the Big 12 conference play.
yeah, and the flip side of that is you come out, and I don't think really a lot of people know how Auburn is going to be this year. But like, let's say they come out and lose to Auburn, playoff wise, the SMU game isn't a must win, right? You would look at it and be like, ah, but Like, obviously, you can still lose that, and if you win the Big 12, you're automatically in the playoff. So it's not a must win. However, I mean, first month this season, Auburn, SMU, ASU. So
That's tough.
if you
That's
lose that
tough.
Auburn game and it's at the Auburn game's at home, it's a Friday night, which is going to be really weird watching Auburn play on a Friday night. But you lose that Auburn game, I do, in a weird way, think that SMU game is a kind of a must win because it's. I understand it's a 12-team playoff. It's not conference games, but to me, it's really tough to start 0-2 and save your season to the point that you're in the playoff. I know we've only
Especially in the
had the
big
12.
especially in the Big 12. Especially in the, I mean, let's call a spade a
Yeah, and
spade.
then that for sure makes like if you were to start out 0-2, you have to win that Arizona. Like you just have to win that Arizona State game. I mean, the last bit of their schedule's not bad. Cincy or at Cincy, UCF, Utah will be tough at Arizona and Houston. So it's very top. The beginning of the season is top heavy in terms of your harder games, but just like that's what I didn't pick them to be in my championship is I just think it's going to be real hard to. I mean, and I guess if they started 2-0, I'll look like a complete and total buffoon, but I don't see them starting 2-0. I think Auburn is going to be improved, and I still look at Baylor last year, and I know they ended strong, but it still wasn't. I mean, they didn't end strong enough for me to discredit what's been going on there since his first or second season when they won 12 games. It's still been very up, down, up, down, up, down. And like you said, he was on the hot seat. He was like borderline about to get fired last year, and they finished 5-1 or 6-1.
Mhm.
I mean, he was on like Billy Napier situation. He saved it. We'll see what he can do with it. I still kind of think he's on the hot seat going into this season. So
There definitely is lot riding for the team down in Waco. Let's move up to the team up in Provo, the BYU Cougars. Now, a lot of off-season drama. You know, if we would have started with the Big 12 in our preview series, this would have been recorded what in the middle of June. Much different outlook for the Cougars. Obviously, the news that Jake Retzlaff has to transfer for breaking the honor code at BYU. So he's not the quarterback now. And Zuch, I want to tell you some of these quarterbacks that could be the starter. Are you ready for this?
oh yeah.
McKay Hillstead, Trayson Borgie, and Stanford transfer. Are you ready for this?
I mean, I
Bear
know who it is, but
Bachmeyer. Bear Bachmeyer. Our old friend Bachmeyer. A Bachmeyer could be playing in the Rocky Mountains again. Those are the three quarterbacks that could start for BYU. And it's a real shame because I think BYU had a talented enough roster to kind of compete, but I think a lot was relying on Retzlaff. But BYU is a team I do go back and forth on because I think Kalane Satake is like Asian Pacific Islander Mike Gundy, where he wins when he's not supposed to and like loses when he's supposed to. Like and everyone's counting him out right now, and it's like they like I would not be surprised if they're like, oh shit, if BYU wins the last two games of the year, they're in.
I still probably top 5 funniest things I've ever seen on Twitter involving Sataki was. Do you remember in the COVID year where like they had just played? Maybe they played someone right after, but they had just killed Boise State, and I think they might have had a game after that. But they randomly scheduled that game like with 6 days notice against Coastal
Yeah,
Carolina, and people
yeah.
started saying this mofo thinks he's in the bloodline trying to schedule matches that weren't supposed to be there.
Well,
And they ended up they were like undefeated, and I mean it was kind of cool. I was like, oh, like this season's kind of whack anyways. You might as well. But in regards to this season, I mean, they kind of came out of nowhere last year. They're picked to finish like 12th or 13th in the league. Were like a Who'd they lose to last year? Kansas. I mean, yeah, lost to Kansas by 4. Arizona State by. I mean, they were a play or two away from being in the playoff
Mhm.
and like a top 4 seed because they were number 7 when they lost to Kansas.
Yep.
Which that's what I mean by the Big 12 is like Kansas wasn't even that good last year, and BYU. It's like you win that game, like they win that game, they are in the Big 12 title game. That gets into 8 wins. They go. I don't think Arizona State would have ended up having. I don't think they would have made it if BYU had won that game. But I don't know that they're going to get back to 11 wins this year. That's a tough. A lot of things went right for them last year to get undefeated, and that's how it always is with the Big 12. It's like you look at it and you're like, damn, this team has won like 5 games by like it's just
Mhm.
like I don't know, like the forces pick someone each year that are like, all right, like this is going to be the random Big 12 team that you know every one score game is going to like go their way, or like 8 out of the 9
Always.
one score games are going to go their way. So the quarterback situation will be tough, but I don't know. It seems like to me they've kind of been able to fit really anybody into that system as of
Yeah.
late, and
I mean,
I mean,
shit, they were ranked with Jaron Hall for crying out loud. Sorry, Coug
y
Nation, who tried to defend Jaron Hall. See, I saw him with my own eyes. I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but come on.
yeah, I
They
mean,
also had 10-year quarterback Tanner Mangum, who literally was
they
in
got Zach
college.
Wilson to be the second pick of the draft. So,
No, they've had a good history with quarterbacks at BYU. One last thing about BYU is watch out for Chase Roberts, wide receiver out there. Definitely could be a first team All Big 12. Put up some monster stats, and might be a guy you might see playing on Sundays. For all the guys guys or gals who watch in bars and stuff, if you want a deep pull to look impressive with your friends watching a BYU game, see that white wide receiver right there, Chase Roberts. He's a baller. Watch him ball out. Know
and
some
they do
ball.
the Holy War is BYU's homecoming this year, which is going to be that'll be
It
fun.
that for any Twitter people, that is like BYU versus Utah Holy Week. It's not even like silly stuff like the SED. It truly is just like really like hateful stuff that makes like third party watching like you and me like super uncomfortable. Like I'm not gonna even lie. And there is an extra wrinkle with the fact that I don't know that with the whole Retzlaff like someone's gonna bring up the Retzlaff situation, and I'm not gonna get
It
into it
will be
because I
brought up.
personally don't know all the details. I don't want to say something that's incorrect or whatever, but someone's gonna say something about it, and let's just say things are gonna get dicey. And a BYU mom is going to make a TikTok about how the fans were rude to her, guaranteed. The losing team in the Holy War always complains online about how rude the fans were. It is
Yeah,
like
that's
clockwork. Death taxes and the Holy War loser complaining about how rude the opposing fans were.
yeah. They threw my cougar tail on the ground.
Those are delicious, man. I hate BYU, but dad gummit, man, they know how to make a donut in that stadium. I'll tell you what, man.
I'll never forgive them for the caffeine free Coke ever in my
Yeah,
life.
yeah, that was intense. But also shout out the guy when we went who gave us the Boise State flag. A lot of interesting guys. BYU fans, man, they are the wide range of spectrum. I mean, I've met the BYU fans who are just kind. They gave us a Boise State flag and like talked about how like they always give one to opposing fans, and the guys that we sat right in front of who were with his kid taking it to his first game, and then you just have like crash out machines and like guys yelling at kids and people being mean online. So I mean, it's just you get the full spectrum with BYU, man. So it is interesting.
Who we got next? Who we got next?
We got the Cincinnati Bearcats next, and they're getting better. They got a long way to go, but they have a chance to start the year hot this year. Nebraska and Kansas City, week 1, have to set the tone early. Have to set the tone early.
That is actually is that week 1 or that's a week 1 game?
Yeah,
Or is it week 0? That is actually a great matchup. That will be a, like just one of those ones that the loser is gonna, like the coach will calls for the coach will be to be fired will be
yep.
had. like by halftime, because that's one of those games that like you kind of look at it and you're like, oh, that's kind of an interesting matchup. Like that should be like a quasi decent. Like it's not Texas Ohio State, but it could be good, and it'll be like 24-0 at halftime, and
Yep.
they'll be like, what the hell were you doing all of fall camp?
The
So,
fact that it's a neutral site too is gonna make it even funnier. Like, it's because like both of those fan bases are gonna have to interact. But I mean, they're gonna need another big year from Brendan Sorensby to hit that. I had their win total at 6.5 on three, and honestly, I kind of think that's a little bit high. I think they have him at 6.5 due to scheduling, not talent. Um, Personally, I think it's going to be tough for them to get above 6 wins this year, just the way things are kind of shaping out in the conference.
yeah, and it's just not been a very like since Luke Fickle left. It's just been I don't know, the hire of Scott Satterfield, who's about to get fired from Louisville, was just an odd hire. Like that, it almost is like he left because he knew he was about to get fired, and they just haven't. I don't know. They just haven't been able to keep the momentum you would kind of think that they were going to after making a four-team playoff.
Hmm.
Like, and it's just I don't know. Like they're the one of the I would say there's three. One of the three teams that I didn't really think had much of a shot to win the Big 12, which of course means they'll be like 10-2 for no reason. But
I guess
we'll see.
one of my things in my Cincinnati notes is crazier things have happened in the Big 12. One of the crazier stories last year, and I think it's kind of died down a bit this year. I don't know if that's a good thing. Is our old friend Coach Prime, the least controversial figure in college sports? But Coach Prime, my main question for him, honestly, is how is he going to handle running a team that doesn't have one of his sons on it for the first time in his life? Because I do think, I
Well,
mean,
if he even runs the team, he like I saw like yesterday, he still has major health issues. Like he wasn't at media days, all kinds of crazy stuff. So I don't really know what's going on with that, which has got to be. I mean, fall camp starts,
soon it'll be
yeah, like next
started.
week.
It'll start by the time some people listen to this podcast on, but this will be Friday. Um, it fall camp players will have to be reported back by then. But I know it's people have talked about, their high school recruiting class isn't good at all. Let's just call a spade a spade. But they bring in a bunch of portal talent again, and the main question is who's going to start at quarterback. At least the main player question is going to be Kadon Slater or high-ranked freshman Julian Lewis. Personally, I think it's going to be Slater. I think Coach Prime says it's a competition, although I think he's a good coach, and I think he's saying that so that Julian Lewis doesn't transfer. That's just my opinion. That is literally just my opinion. I think he knows he's going to start Slater.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, especially if like it was one thing for Shador Sanders to come in and it not be a good offensive line and stuff. He, despite like some of the stuff he did off field and after games and stuff, he had a lot of experience being a starting quarterback. And if you still have those line troubles and no running game, and you throw a true freshman in there,
Yeah.
that to me is like it just you're just asking for that guy's confidence to get completely ruined. With that, I mean, I still stand by that Deion Sanders has done a great job there. I hope he's healthy and coaching. I hope Colorado does good. I think it's good for the sport. But it'll it's going to be interesting to see how they are this year if he is not doing well health wise, and now that his sons are gone, Travis Hunter's gone, they just don't have that same pop right now that they did the past couple years, like that level of excitement. And a
Yeah.
lot of it was unwarranted, but it can still do a lot for your team, is what I guess I'm trying to say.
Yeah. They still have freaking. The one thing I will say about Colorado is that I don't know if Warren Sapp still has a mohawk, but I will go back on saying that I don't think grown men should be having mohawks. I know Warren Sapp, Hall of Fame football player, not Hall of Fame decision maker. when it comes to hair. But great D line coach. They had a solid D line last year. But moving on
They
to
did.
the Fighting Willie Fritzes, the Houston Cougars. And Zuch, I have a quick question, and it's a question and a statement. Do you know how long it took me to realize that Houston's not going to win the Big 12 this year?
Probably about 4 seconds.
4 seconds when I found out that Connor Wegman is going to be their quarterback. I have seen this movie play out too many times. Like, to me, you know what this feels like, man? This feels like Graham Mertz to Florida. This feels like Tyler Van Dyke to Wisconsin. This feels like, remember, Davis Webb to Cal. This feels like Wilton Spate to UCLA. I think Houston's going to do fine. I think they're going to hit their over win total of 5.5. I don't know. Is this one of your 3 teams that you think just has no shot at winning it?
Yeah, and they're kind of in. To me, the difference between them and like Cincinnati is I think Willie Fritz is a good coach. I just think it's going to take a minute to build up there. Really a lot of those Texas schools are. You can't say they're not trying. I mean, Texas Tech is trying, A&M's trying, Texas obviously is, SMU is, and I think Houston will too. They all those, and I think people fail to realize that a little bit because they haven't. But I mean, Tech has had a good year every once in a while. A&M's had a couple good years. Texas has obviously been real good recently, but even before that, a fairly recent national championship and we're good for the most part under Mac Brown. But there's a lot of high profile donors that go to all of those schools in that area. And, I don't think Houston is that far off from all they need to do is compete in the Big 12. I think some people get confused sometimes and they're like, oh, and I also think it's stupid to like hate on a team for spending money to try to win. Like, that is what schools like that have to like. It's never made much sense. The argument, like it's stupid. What do you think they're going to go and out recruit Georgia? Like, that high school recruiting is never going to change. It hasn't changed in 100 years. Like the same schools get most of the good talent. Like schools like Houston or SMU or whoever get guys that get missed and end up being a diamond in the rough. But no, I think Houston. I don't think they're going to compete for the title this year. But you got to work your way up. It takes time sometimes, even though it feels like everyone wants the. And I get it. You have a new coach and stuff like that. You kind of feel like, especially getting rid of Dana Holgerson, who just wasn't that. He's never been that good. He like pops a 10-win season once every 5 years.
He'd be an
But
all-time guy. Wasn't he on our coaches to get a drink with list? He seems like
yeah,
a
and
great. He seems like an all-time Panama City Beach guy, Dana Holgerson.
he probably is there right now. I don't know if he actually took an OC job somewhere. I want to say he did, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, I mean, if Houston can get to 7 wins, that's showing progress. If you're at 4 wins again, or even less than 6, then you got something to worry about, I would say.
That's fair. No, I mean it's
Maybe
fair.
you can move on eventually. But no, Houston. I mean, I think Houston can. I think a lot of those teams in the Big 12. I am a believer that using NIL and stuff can make you a good team. So, I mean, it made
We'll see. I
Houston
mean,
SMU a playoff team last year, and they
and
sucked for my
it's
whole lifetime.
I mean, and it's made Houston basketball back to relevancy. So obviously there is some support at that university. Moving on to Iowa State, the runner-up to the Big 12 last year, lost to Arizona State in the championship game, and this is a team that is retooled and remotivated to get back to where they are. Matt Campbell, great coach. Two-time Big 12 Coach of the Year, maybe 3-time if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and I mean, he's kind of brought
Literally,
himself.
yeah, I was going to say the only bad thing I can say about Matt Campbell is his legendary crash out at that Maction fan. All-time legendary crash out. If they end up winning the Big 12, I think he should like monetize that moment. Like that is the funniest thing ever. His crash out at the Mac game.
Well, too, coming into this when we did our preview last year, it kind of felt like he had which is always a thing. People get mad at coaches for leaving, but it kind of felt like he had missed his window to take one of those
Mhm.
better jobs, like better, I guess how I should say it. But they get back to 11 wins last year. That kind of got crushed in the Big 12 title game. But I flipped to the wrong page. I have my notes on that one. I actually had something interesting to say about them.
I mean,
So
while you find
here's
your
what it
notes,
is.
yeah.
So if you look at their schedule, that Kansas, and we'll get to them in a minute, but that Iowa State Kansas State game in Dublin,
Oh,
I think I don't know that whoever loses that game can win the Big 12 or even make it to the Big 12 championship.
mhm.
That's going to be a rough one to lose that, and then you basically have one more loss you can have the rest of the season, which is it's hard to go undefeated, or even hard to have just one loss. But they have Kansas State, South Dakota, Iowa, Arkansas State. Then they get Arizona at Cincinnati, at Colorado, BYU, Arizona State, at TCU, Kansas, Oklahoma State. So I do have them in my Big 12 championship because they avoid Baylor, Utah, and Texas Tech. Like you can't ask for a better draw than avoiding Baylor, Utah, Texas Tech. I understand they
Those
get
are
Kansas State and Arizona State, but if you look at like Oklahoma State, no one has winning the Big 12. Kansas, no. TCU, no. Colorado, no. Cincinnati, no. Arizona, no. That's 6 right there that you absolutely should probably win all 6 of those games. Not saying they will. They should win all 6 of those games. Then you have 3 games. If you win 2, like I said, if a team is 8-1, I think they're making the Big 12 title game. 7-2, you start getting into a little bit of the
ske
murky territory, but
mhm.
we'll see. We'll see with them.
We'll
I do
see.
have them in my
No,
championship game
it's
now.
not a bad pick. Rocco Becht is a lot of other people's choice for first team all Big 12 QBs. And a great QB name. I said that last year.
It is a good
Rocco
one.
Becht, great, absolutely phenomenal QB name. And they did retool at receiver with some transfers after losing the Jalen's to the NFL and 12 returning starters. So that's I mean, and of course, there's going to be teams that are better, but for a team that just came back from the a conference championship game. I think 12 is good. Matt Campbell's a good coach. Definitely, I think they've earned the right to be one of the favorites this year.
You
Iowa
know,
State.
last year was the first time they've had 11 wins in the history of their program,
Yeah,
which
I
is
I, I did know that. I
crazy.
they played it before the Big 12 championship game when they were like, if they win this game, they'll get 11 wins and they end up like in the bowl game getting it. So it is what it is. Moving on to Kansas, the Jayhawks. Is their stadium going to be ready this year? Their new stadium?
I'm not 100% sure on
I
that.
forgot to put that in my notes if I'm being honest with you. But I have one thing about Kansas, and it's a big question mark. Is Jalen Daniels, he's good. He is getting to like that Cam Rising, Tanner Mangum. Like he just seems like if he was really good, he wouldn't be at Kansas or even in college anymore, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah, and they're another like God, the Big 12 is so weird. They're another weird one where it's like funny in a way, like the aspirations of a fan base. Like if you told me, like let's say we went to Kansas 10 years ago,
mhm,
we'd be like, this is absolutely horrible. Like we are barely winning any games. We're like it's like 75 to nothing every time we play someone like who even sniffs the top 25. And we heard like kids that are going there now complaining about 7 or 8 wins would be like, what the hell is like
yeah.
wrong with you? Like we didn't see freaking hardly any wins for the entire time that we were at school. But I mean, Let me pull up where I have them on here. Yeah, I mean, God, like Lance Leopold, 2 wins, 5 or 6 wins, 9 wins, back to 5. So it's not been, they've gotten a lot of hype, and I think that's deserved for Lance Leopold because, like, before that, it was 0-2-1-3-3-0. Like, Jesus Christ, I can't imagine going to a school where you won. If you went from 2015 to 2018, you saw your team win 6 football games. 6. Like, that is
That's so
almost
bad.
unbelievable. Like,
I
I
feel like
don't
at
think
that
I would
point it
go.
gets so bad. At that point it gets so bad, it just becomes funny. Like, do you remember that one time it was when Kansas was playing Caleb Williams, Oklahoma, and like students like they're just like either in the dorm studying or like going to like parties or drinking at the bars with friends because it was like a Saturday during the day as you do in college. And like they started coming into the stadium like at halftime in the third quarter because they were like, oh shit, we're only down 7. Like we kind of want to see if we get an upset.
We got to make a move to the stadium. Yeah, I mean, I think they can get back to a bowl this year.
Hmm.
I
I
don't
do
think they're
too.
going to win the Big 12. Like they've never really been. I mean, that one year, which was the most random, freaking 2007, when they were like
Yeah.
12-0 at one point, was just wild, like truly wild. But they are historically just not good at football, so I have a hard time seeing them making a jump to competing for the Big 12 championship.
That's fair. They do play Mizzou again this year. Props to them and Mizzou for kind of rekindling that rivalry. I know
The
people were
border
afraid it was
war,
gonna.
that one's
Yeah,
good. If they're both like, and that's a fun, like those are fun games, even if neither one of you are that great. The uniform matchups are cool. Like
yeah.
the fans are invested. Like
It's also
those are
one of
fun
like
games.
those. I do love, especially in this era of conference realignment, the where your arch rival is like out of conference and like you still go out of your way to like make sure you schedule that game. It's something I do and appreciate and cherish when I watch those games. Let's move on to Kansas's other rival, K State. This is another big favorite. It seems like since Oklahoma and Texas has left, K State's kind of become maybe not. It seems like they've become one of the big boys in this conference. Would you say that's fair, Zuch? Because they're just,
Yeah, they're
Chris
always.
Kleiman is one of the most underrated coaches in the country, and they return Avery Johnson, who had a decent year last year.
Ah,
Is looking to make
yes,
another
the little
big
girl
jump
from
again.
Remember the Titans.
Okay, okay, that just you just have to stop. But
That is
I
his hairdo.
enough, enough. But K State, they're good. They're good again. That defense is always tough, and they have running back Dylan Edwards, the Colorado transfer who balled out last year. I have it in this notes because I do want to just spend like 2 more minutes talking about it. That week 0 matchup is going to be insane. I was thinking, okay, here's how my sicko brain works. That's my birthday, August 23rd. I was thinking about doing a lot of things that day. I was like, maybe I'll go wine tasting. I'll drive up to Paso for the day. It's like, huh, maybe me and all the buddies, like, we'll go out to downtown LA or somewhere far away and, we'll get some dinner and, like, kind of like spend the day, like, eating, hanging out. Then I saw this matchup and was like, well, shit. Looks like I'm staying local.
I gotta
Fellas,
watch.
I gotta watch. This is how, and this is just more of an abstract thing. College football, it is social. Why is it socially acceptable? So I'm going off on a tangent now. Why is it socially acceptable to waste away Sundays watching football? But when I say, sorry, I can't do something on a college football, people look at me like I'm a lazy sack of shit and eat fucking chicken fingers for 6 meals, like over the course of a Saturday and Sunday.
No, you should.
So,
I mean, that's there is nothing better than waking up, and I don't care if it's like Kansas State, Iowa State is your marquee game. The week 0 is great. You wake up, you're looking forward to it all week. You're like, oh, I got real football on. Hawaii will play someone later, and that's always a fun game. This game, I mean, the game was hilarious last year. Who knew that would be the downfall of Florida State losing to Georgia Tech and not like
And
winning
Cody
until like
Cody found his Cody found his favorite player too.
he did. Walked in the house immediately and goes, "Now that's a football player." Knew nothing about what was going on in the game, just saw the neck roll and was immediately in love. But yeah, for them, the thing that worries me is, excuse me, they have to play Iowa State, Baylor, Texas Tech, and Utah. So, how I looked at them is, do you think they can win 3 of those games? What you're gonna have
Texas.
to do probably.
Yeah,
Iowa State,
I think
Baylor.
they could.
Yeah, so
I think
they
they
could
could.
win 3 of those games. And that just means to me, like, you have to win 3 of the 4 of Utah, Baylor, Texas Tech, Iowa State. And then you have to beat Arizona, UCF, Kansas, Colorado, and you give yourself a chance. And I know we keep repeating ourselves a lot with these teams, but that's really the truth. You got like with these upper echelon teams that people think can win the conference, they're gonna have to win the majority of their games against those good teams and then probably not lose any like even if, you know, like let's say Kansas State lost 2 of them. Let's say they lose to Texas Tech and Baylor, and at the end of the season, they end up losing to they beat Utah, things are looking good, and they lose to Colorado. 3 is not getting you in. 2 losses in the conference will you have a very good shot to get into the conference championship. I do not think 3. 3 is just you're getting real into the weeds of hoping that like
Yeah,
you benefit from the
especially
tiebreakers and stuff like that. And this is the only
especially
conference like this, so I'm sorry I keep repeating myself, but
no, I mean,
that's
I think we have to because I mean, we're gonna see with maybe 2 or 3 teams later on, it's the same case. Let's move on to Oklahoma State. I just wanna say, wow, that was one of the biggest disappointments, I think, of the college football season last year. This was a team that was projected to be in the Big 12 championship. Ollie Gordon coming back. A lot of people thought he was either it was going to be him or Ashton Genty as the Doak Walker winner, and like nowhere close. And Gundy, they just kind of faltered. I didn't believe in
they
Alex
faltered
Bowman.
from the beginning of him saying like who well, like I don't know the
What is
exact
drunk
quotes.
driving when he turned into Ray from Trailer Park Boys? It was like where he essentially was like, I looked at his like blood alcohol content and you only needed like 6 beers. Shit, if that's drunk driving, I've drunk drive like 1,000 times then, essentially. What was
It
the
went
quote?
straight down after instead
Yeah,
of
no,
just
it
being
was
like, "Oh, it's not good." Like, just say it's not good. We can't be having that. You don't gotta come out and like I get defending your player, I really do, but you can do that and coach speak ways of like, "Oh, we still love him. This will be a learning experience. He's a young kid, blah, blah, blah." Not, "Oh, I drunk drive all the time." That was not the proper way to go.
Oh, oh my gosh, it's funny. But what I will say is, man, it seems like Oklahoma State in these years that everyone is down on them.
They'll be like
They
11 and
always
1.
yeah, they always go up, their win total's 5.5, and I wanna put this in, I'm not a gambling man. This is either gonna be the hottest take of the year or one of my coldest take of the year at the, Settle Down Awards this year. I think it is the lock of the year that Oklahoma State gets above 5.5 wins. I really think it does. I mean, you look at their non-con, it's a decently easy non-con where they can get 2 or 3 wins, and then you sneak 3 or 4 in conference play. I mean, they got one of the best home field advantages in the Big 12. Do I think it's a stretch to win the Big 12 for them? Yeah, it might be. It'd probably take a miracle, but I think 5.5 is way too low of a win total for them. I 100% them having them in a bowl game.
Yeah, I mean, they're and it's a big I mean, as weird as it is to say for Gundy, because I mean, you wanna, like he's made them a relevant program when they were I mean, my god, they had Barry Sanders, and then they had Les Miles for a couple years before Gundy got there, but you wanna talk about bad programs, Oklahoma State has not had a good history. I mean, I remember seeing uh, not Be what is it? The Bedlam what do they call the Oklahoma State game?
Bedlam.
Bedlam, yeah. it was like 85-19 or something like that. I was like, Jesus, like I understand like Oklahoma's had kind of a head start, but my God, like you're never gonna even come close to sniffing being even with them. So I agree with you. I think they'll get over 5.5 wins. But if they don't, like if things are bad, like and they have like 40 new players or something like that, new OC, new DC. So if it just goes off the rails again, they might move on from Mike Gundy, which is will be sad in a way because he has been there and gotten them like my freshman year of school. I think they if they wouldn't have lost to Iowa State on like Friday night, they would have gone in the national title, which is
Hmm.
like I mean, he has been a couple years ago. I think me and you were watching that game at work, like
Yeah,
the Big
I
12 championship
one
game
yard
when
short. He was 1 yard
yeah,
short.
like so he has done really well there. It's just he's kind of like he's kind of like a large bucket of popcorn. It can be great, but some of the after like it can also be really bad, you know. You enjoy it a lot sometimes and then other times you're like, "Oh, like what
This
like
is a
why
little
are we
too
doing this?"
this is a little too salty, and, like, I feel a little queasy, and I shouldn't drive home. No, but I
Exactly. So
like Gundy.
I do too. He's funny. He's like a goofball, but
One of my
we'll
I mean,
see.
he has my favorite coach. How could I hate a guy or ever be mad at someone who literally has my favorite coach outtake of all time? There's seriously, I do it before every college football season. I watch the entirety of the "Come After Me, I'm a Man, I'm 40,"
And
and it's one of the things that I really do look forward to when I turn 40 years old.
And the funny part about that is I would almost bet my life that he was like driving in to work to do the press conferences and stuff and stopped at like a gas station to get something and saw like that front
Yep.
page cover in Stillwater and like snatched it up and like brought it with him. Like you see in a movie when someone like sees like a newspaper article that
Yeah.
like flames them, like that's exactly what happened.
That's awesome. Let's move on to one of my other frenemy coaches, a guy I actually have an autograph from. So, but one of my coaches and teams I just have a love hate relationship with, the TCU Horned Frogs and the Fighting Sunny Dykes. Uh, I really like Josh Hoover. I like Josh Hoover in a way that it feels like when I first watched Cam Ward. And I know that's a crazy comparison. I know people are going to listen to this and go, "What the hell are you
You
talking
deserve
about?"
more credit for your Cam Ward for Heisman thing because you did see that. Like you were calling, like he didn't win the Heisman when he was at Wazoo, but the man became a number one overall pick.
And I'm seeing similar stuff with Josh Hoover, man. I really am. And I I believe in him. TCU's better overall this year on offense and especially defense. They have some DBs that are preseason. I forget what his name is, Bud something, and he's a preseason All Big 12 guy. TCU, the Eric McAllister, ex BSU wide receiver, looking to have another big year. He's a potential first team All Big 12 guy, and they have a schedule that's tougher than nails, and it's tough. Like they could totally just biff it and win 7 games, but they can also, man, you beat SMU early in the year for the Iron Skillet. SMU is going to be ranked. You're off and running, man. Like
Yeah, and
I am really high on TCU this year because I am
they
really high on Josh Hoover.
went 9-4 last year. Had like they had the weird. They got like killed by SMU last year,
Yeah, that was the game that Sonny
which is
Dykes got ejected. He got ejected from the game. And also
and
another
then
thing, everyone please watch TCU SMU because it is the Peter Millar militia over there. TCU versus SMU.
well,
It is the
and they were
Millar militia.
so he and we talked about it before we got on. He was, one of the coaches, which there's a few in the Big 12 that I mean, I think you can honestly make the case that like there's three that if they had a bad season would be safe. But Sonny Dykes was one of the ones that we said still kind of quasi on the hot seat a little bit, but they were like you said last year. They finished 6-1, and then I was like looking up stuff about them last year. Guess who their Big 12 losses? Or let me make sure I have the right. I know who these two I'm talking about were. So they finished 6-3 in the Big 12. Okay,
Mhm.
they lost to Baylor. That was one of their losses. That one's okay. Guess
Rivalry.
their other
That's a
two.
rivalry game. I bet it's some stupid stuff like K-State and Texas Tech.
Houston and UCF, who were both bad. Like they were the bottom of the barrel. So that, and they had a lot of close wins too. I'm not saying that those losses were just out of nowhere, but Jesus, you beat one of the two worst teams in the league, and you're in the Big 12 championship game. Like seriously, like they could have.
No,
I mean, I don't know how the tiebreakers would have leveled out, but they. I agree with you. I think they're going to be pretty good. I do have them with the three losses though in the Big 12, but it once again wouldn't surprise me if instead of 9-3. Oh no, sorry, I have them losing to SMU, so I have them 9-3, 7-2. But I have them losing to somebody that I think will be.
so you
I,
think that TCU is one of those like four teams that'll get like one of the four teams fighting for that second spot, and it'll just
yeah,
be like a squeeze out thing. That's fair. Look, there's a lot of good teams, and I like TCU. And here's another good team. I know this is a team that you're really high on them. I'm high on them, but I don't know if I'm high on them as you. All I know is that Texas Tech, they've pumped a lot of money into this program. They've gotten a lot of good transfers, especially on that offensive line and defense. And they
which
returned their
was needed. The
quarterback.
defense, it was their defense
Yeah,
was bad last year.
it was bad. It was I mean, Joey McGuire, we know what he is on offense. He was an offensive machine when he was in college, and he's bringing that running gun kind of electricity back to Lubbock. And another thing about Texas Tech, man, they got an easy ass non-con. I don't know if you saw their non-con. It might be the easiest in the Big 12. So I mean, I would almost put. I don't want to guarantee it, but actually, I will go 90% guarantee that they're ripping in conference play undefeated.
Oh yeah, so I kind of broke down their schedule. I did each team like how I did my notes on them a little bit differently, but this is how I broke down Texas Tech. So Arkansas Pine Bluff, terrible. Kent State probably would not even like have 5 wins. I seriously think in the FCS they were very very bad last year, and then lost their it's a catastrophe there. Oregon State, they're kind of in la la land right now. I mean, they're not
They're
brutal
not
brutal,
bad.
but they're not. Texas Tech should easily win that game.
Texas Tech will be probably a 7.5, 6.5 point favorite.
Yeah. So then they're at Utah, at Houston, Kansas, at Arizona State, right? So what I was kind of looking at them is if they go 3-1 in that stretch, then they get Oklahoma State, Kansas State, BYU, UCF, West Virginia.
Hmm.
I honestly could see them starting out if they beat Arizona State. I don't think there's any way they aren't in the Big 12 championship game. I just don't see if they had the wins over Utah and Arizona State, right? If they somehow
Yeah.
start like that, I don't see them losing, even if they lost twice against Oklahoma State, Kansas State, BYU, UCF, West Virginia. I think they would probably have like they would have a tiebreaker over Utah. They would have the tiebreaker over Arizona State, unless those two didn't lose another game, and I think they play each other. So I actually, and we've gone through both of my teams, so I can say it now. I have Texas Tech and Utah State, Texas Tech and Iowa State in the Big 12 championship. I have a lot of respect for Texas Tech going out and trying to win. They've always been, you could argue, like fifth fiddle in Texas. It's always been definitely Texas, A&M. I like Texas Tech has
TCU
always been like
TCU in recent years has been
yeah.
more premier than
Texas
yeah.
Tech has always been like the redheaded stepchild of those two teams, and they've been cool. But like Texas Tech was a lot of fun under Mike Leach. They got rid of him, and since they got rid of him, it's kind of been
they've always been the fun team, never the great team.
yeah. And it was great that year with Graham Harrell and Michael Crabtree, where they were like they beat Texas in that wild game that the Texas cornerback had like legitimately the easiest tip drill
Yeah.
of his life in his hands. Like that's and that's what I'm saying is like they've always been fun. Like I still think that touchdown pass to Michael Crabtree, like that's a college football moment that sticks out in my mind. Like every year, like it's something that I see and I'm like, oh, that was really, really cool. But I'm high on them. They bring in a lot of transfers. That defense has to improve. But I think if it can even improve by like 10 points a game, I really think they could finish with. I think they could go 11-1.
No, I really like him too. I do. I'm like back and forth, and honestly, I'm still back and forth on whether I want to put him as my in the Big 12 championship or the first team sitting out. And I will make a call soon because I'm going to have to in our predictions later. Let's move on to he's back. The man is back. Scott Frost, the fighting Scott Frost, is back at UCF. Also, all-time bad soundbite when they ask what's some advice, and he goes, "Don't take the wrong job." Dude, you lost more one-score games than anyone in Division One
It was
history. It seemed
impressive.
like.
It is impressive how many ones. Like, I honest to God don't think you could. You could go into games trying to be like, all right, we are going to not even score right here and lose by like one. Like it's serious. Like that would seriously. If I was at school under him in Nebraska, I would hate my life more than if I when we were talking earlier about Kansas because at least with Kansas, I'm like, yeah, but let's just go have some drinks. Like worst case scenario, we'll be
Basketball
really good in
school, Bill
basketball.
Self, yeah,
We'll be really good in basketball. Who like it's almost fun how much we suck because you just go to the game and like hang out and like
yeah.
who cares? Like frigging Charlie Weiss is out here. We're not winning any games, but with him, it's like you have like hope every game, and then he just they.
Oh
It's
my god,
unbelievable how they
what
found
was
ways
the?
to lose.
Do you remember the Northwestern Ireland game? That like broke me, and I wasn't even a Nebraska fan. Like that one, the onside kick when he was up, I was like, oh my god.
And it wasn't like it was just so like that moment. It was so weird. Like I actually like doing that every once in a while, like an onside kick, because I do think a lot of times teams aren't ready for it. I think at a halftime they're probably ready for it though. They're like I would say as a coach, like, hey, just be on your heels, like in case they kick an onside kick here. I almost think it's better to do that like randomly in the second quarter or something
Hmm.
like that. Like at a time it's like, oh dude, that was kind of like shocking. But ah, with UCF, I don't know. I don't.
I'm
I
not
feel like double
particularly high.
dipping in these coaches doesn't really work most of the time. I mean,
I mean, we saw
it
Mac
didn't work,
Brown. It like kind of works, and it's like,
and I think that's like Mac Brown kind of worked. Bill Snyder came back to Kansas State, and that's probably the best case scenario. It
mhm.
didn't work for Bobby
Tedford.
Petrino at Louisville.
It worked for Jeff Tedford at Fresno State, but like
Yeah,
you said, it's been like this 50-50.
yeah. So most and freaking for some reason the Big 12 we're about to get to them, but West Virginia did the same
With
thing.
Rich
And like
Rod.
what to me is a little bit different about like the Mac Browns and Jeff Tedfords is those guys had a long history. Like Jeff Tedford, I think is a probably one of the most underrated coaches
He was
the
solid.
sport's
Fresno
ever
State,
seen.
Cal, he was good. He
Yeah,
had
he
some good
was at
teams.
places that aren't known at all for football. Like they are not. And did pretty good. Like Bobby Petrino, like Rich Rod to me, and even Scott Frost. Scott Frost had a good season at UCF. That's all he's had. Not good at Nebraska. Not really been good anywhere else. I mean, that's the only two head coaching
He's
jobs
good
he's
at
had. But he's
holding
had one.
back. Like he's a great holdback guy when a player's going ape shit. great at holding back LeGarrette Blount from Boise hooligans who probably should have been nowhere near the sidelines.
Exactly. But no, I mean, Bobby Petrino, I guess he did do pretty good at Arkansas until he decided to lie about being on a motorcycle by himself. But it's no, it's a weird that's a weird thing to me. It kinda seems like I don't know, like, that's a lot of baggage you're bringing with that guy, and it's not like, he's the Nebraska thing ended so poorly, and he got more of an opportunity there than I've really ever seen like, most coaches do not have that long of a leash and are that bad for that long, and he could never fix it. There's all kinds of stuff out there about him, like, being drunk around recruits and
Hitting up
stuff
like
like
girls at
that.
college bars,
Yeah,
allegedly. Mhm.
allegedly, so, I don't know. I think I we've talked about it before. I think UCF could be the best team in the Big probably should be the best team in the Big 12. I mean, you could
Recruiting and
argue
stuff.
yeah, like, to me, they are in a like, I understand Texas has the Texas players, but Central Florida's in Florida in a bigger city. Like, there's more stuff to do in Orlando than I've been to Lubbock, Texas. There's nothing to do there. It is literally in the middle of
Hey, come
nowhere.
on. Hey, come on. That was a cheap shot at Lubbock. But no, I think UCF will be fine. I don't think they're gonna win nothing though.
Yeah, and we'll see, like, if it's poor in his first year, phew, UCF better figure it out quickly.
We will see. Moving on to the Utah Utes and Kyle Whittingham. First, I just want to say, bad man is gone. Cam Rising, see you later. So I no longer hate Utah. I'm a little impartial, but I think Utah got a great quarterback in the transfer portal, Devon Dampier from New Mexico. He's a solid guy for any Mountain West fans last year. Somehow he and Bronco Mendenhall got New Mexico bowl eligible last year. Zooch, am I correct saying that? Or did they not go bowl eligible?
I
They
don't
were
think
better
they
than
went last.
they
Yeah.
usually are though. And it's crazy for a school like the New Mexico Lobos. But this
Yeah,
is
and
a
I know most people listening to this probably have never watched New Mexico football. It is we watch a lot of football. I would not watch New Mexico if
but
Boise
he
State was
made
not
them
playing them.
but Devon Dampier made them watchable last year. And that's
Yeah,
why I
he
think
was really good.
he could be a great
He's my
player.
newcomer of the year. So
No, he's also gonna be my newcomer of the year. I think he's good, and I also think he kind of fits into that Utah. He does play that dual threat style, that spread style, that style, and I love Utah's offensive line. A lot of people think that they have the best O lineman in the country in Spencer Fano. They returned most of their main starters on a defense that ranks second and fewest points given up in the Big 12 last year. I mean, this is just like a quintessential muck it up Utah team, and you're going to look at that. I don't have an answer if Utah's going to make it to the Big 12 championship, but I have no doubt in my mind that last month they're going to be in the mix. They're going to be in the mix, and it's like, oh shit, Utah wins out and two teams lose. They're in kind of deal.
yeah, and they were the heavy favorites last year, and it just. But a lot of that last year to me was, I mean, at one point, like they had like a dude, I swear to God, that was like a freaking assistant coach, like playing quarterback. Like they had so many
They
injuries
had
last
Zach
year.
Wilson's little brother playing quarterback, Isaac Wilson.
They did. It got to the point where it's like you're just like scraping by. Like the season's lost. So many injuries. Like you are just trying. Like get to the end of the season. We'll reevaluate. Bring in what we need to, and it's like a lost cause. So they're another one that anywhere from 7-5 to like 10-2 wouldn't surprise me with them.
Yeah, no, I'm also like really interested to see, really interested to see how they do. I'm trying to think of the word to use. Last thing I'm gonna say, play they play so boring it's exciting. Or sometimes that's the best way to describe Utah. And I also think they are a good kind of counterbalance to a lot of the high flying stuff of the Big 12. It's how they won in the Pac-12 so many years. They just countered those kind of I don't want to say finesse because I feel like it's slighting the other opposing teams, but more speed
No,
teams.
yeah, and they know what they're speaking of underrated coaches, if you Kyle Whittingham took over for Urban Meyer at Utah, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, he's been there for a while.
He's been there for a while, and Utah's another one that you're not gonna pull a lot of great recruits there, and he has kept they have been very good. Like he's led them after one of the best coaches ever leaves, led them to the Pac-12. It's led them now into the Big 12 and done there were some rough years when they first went to the Pac-12, but for that guy to stay there, because you can't tell me. I mean, that year that they beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl, which was almost 20 years ago now, that first year that Alabama was really good under Saban, you will never convince me that that guy didn't have a dozen opportunities to leave Utah and go where I can't think of what seats were open in 2007, but they come out and crush Alabama in the Sugar Bowl, finish undefeated. Like Brian Johnson is like the quarterback there, and he like the OC of the Eagles now.
I think so. Did he take over for Kellen Moore?
He's the assistant head coach of the Commanders now, but he was
Mm,
the Eagles offensive coordinator in 2023. And he was like, I mean, that's how long he's Kyle Whittingham has been there, and just he's weird. He doesn't get a ton of love. It seems like when they're good, he gets a lot of love. But I think I would not be shocked at all if Utah made the playoff and upset someone, just based on
yeah,
like how you said how they play. They kind of slow the game down a little bit, and people are going to realize how good Dan Pierre is. Like he had nobody around him at New Mexico, not a single person, and was like making plays by himself against BSU a couple years ago. Like
yeah.
truly,
He
like I was
was.
like, wow, this kid is extraordinary. So I'm excited for Utah.
I'm also excited for Utah. Let's move on to our last team, a team that I'm excited for, but not this year. I see a lot of like Arizona State, early Dillingham this year with West Virginia and Rich Rod. That I love the energy that Rich Rod's bringing. West Virginia is a place that maybe it's tough to be a national like powerhouse, but I don't think it's hard to build like winning culture at West Virginia. It's got a little bit of history. They've proved that they can be in that mix, and with the 12 team, all you got to do is be in that mix to compete for a national championship. I just they got some tough games this year, and I think Rich Rod needs some recruiting classes. That win total set at 5.5, and I'm like split 50-50 on whether they can get that over, man. I gotta be completely honest.
Yeah, and I mean, he's another one. I understand the hire, but it's also kind of weird. Like it almost seems like West Virginia, along with kind of what we said earlier about UCF, wasn't sure where to go for their next coach. They had tried, and I still think Gus Malzahn is a pretty good head coach. I just think he, for whatever reason, can't figure it all out. But yeah, I mean, even Rich Rod though, like flamed out at Michigan, flamed out at Arizona, was at Jacksonville State, and got them to be pretty good. So it 100% could work. I just have my reservations about bringing people back like that. Like I think it's very hard to catch lightning in a bottle,
Yeah,
especially twice. So maybe he's more comfortable there. Maybe he's like, I should have never left here. Like I should have just stayed. I mean, he really did have West Virginia rolling. Like it's been so long ago
he
that
did.
people forget, but they were. I mean, those Pat White and Steve Slayton teams were like
Shit, those he's the
they
reason
were
why they're in
national
the oh,
title contenders.
his era is the reason they are in a Power 5 conference. He been in this, like, American conference, but he has been like, his teams were the reason that they were in, and I don't know. I think they're gonna be good, but not this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'd be cool to see, like it would just be hilarious if it was, like, West Virginia versus UCF in the Big 12 title game. I'd be like, "What is, freaking 15 years ago, if you told me," which West Virginia's been in the Big 12 a while now. They really have. So that one feels a little
If
bit more normal to
UCF
me.
in West Virginia play title, I think, like, Bob Stoops just, like, dies of, like, a broken heart.
He just can't watch it. So,
I
yeah,
think
well
Bob Stoops I think Bob Stoops and Mac Brown have, like, remember in the SpongeBob movie where, like, SpongeBob and Patrick, like, hold hands when they're underneath, like, the drying bed? That's what would happen. That's
that's
Bob
what those 2.
Stoops and Mac Brown do. Yeah. That's funny. Let's get on to our predict for the conference. Um, this is where we're gonna go over to who we think our top players of the year are gonna be, who we think is gonna win the division, not divisions, the conference. Sorry, I can't stop thinking about Bob Stoops and Mac Brown's holding hands like the SpongeBob movie.
They did.
That's all I'm gonna think about. But yeah, let's Zooch. Did you do your predictions first last time?
I don't even remember, to
All right,
be
we'll just
honest
go
with you.
back and forth with them. So I love Texas Tech. I have them missing the Big 12 championship game. And I think it's going to be almost like Miami ish, where they're going to be good and they're just going to like catch a loss or two late and kind of get screwed, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I
I
think
totally get it.
I think the championship is going to be a little old whack. I think it's going to be Utah versus TCU, and I have the Utah Utes, old Pac-12 style, winning the Big 12 this year, which means I have the Utah Utes in the playoff.
I don't hate that. I really don't. It's been the hardest one for me so far to pick by far this league. I have Texas Tech beating Iowa State in the Big 12 championship, and if they don't, we've been talking a lot about coaches on the hot seat. If they go like 8-5 again, our boy Joey McGuire might be getting a couple angry. You don't put the amount of money Texas Tech has, their donors, to go 8-5. You know, it sounds good, and it is good. It all sounds really good. Like, oh yeah, you're giving even extra money so these guys come to Lubbock. A little more is expected than going. You can't be allowing 35 points a game. Yeah, I have Texas Tech in the playoff. I do wonder though with this league because I've been working a little bit on my. I have like a big list of who I think can make the playoff. I do wonder though if, like, let's say Iowa State, Utah, and Arizona State are all 7-2, right?
Hmm.
I do almost wonder if it's like a situation where, like, let's say it's Utah in it and they're 7-2, and or even if like Utah's 11-1 and beats a team who's 10-2, 7-2 in the playoff, and there's another team who's 10-2, 7-2, but doesn't make the conference championship game. Do you think that team, even though they didn't make the conference championship, could make the playoff? Because I've been,
I mean, it just
it's
depends on how the other conferences go, and I don't see that scenario because the Big 12 cannibalizes itself. It's going to become the new Pac-12 where very rarely is it going to be more than the two bid league, in my opinion. I do
that's kind
think
of where
this
I
year with
landed.
the parity, I do think it's going to be a two bid league instead of a one bid like it was last year, but I just see it that way. Offensive player, oh, go for it before I go to my offensive player of the year.
Oh no, I can do. I have mine. I think we might have.
Same one.
I have Dylan Edwards.
Dylan Edwards is a good pick. That was my newcomer of the year last year. Made me look really good. I love Dylan Edwards. He was great at Colorado. I think he's killing it at K State. But I got my guy Josh Hoover, man. I am all aboard the Hoover Express, dude. I am hoo 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 hoo. You're just gonna hear that all day instead of you remember with the Cam Ward new Ward order for life. It's we are
You
all
were
aboard
right
the
on that one.
we
So,
are all aboard the Hoover train now. Who. Josh Hoover, offensive player of the year, baby.
what about your defensive? Like I said, Dylan Edwards. I think that kid's extremely talented.
I did some research. I had a really bad. I had Logan Fano last year, and he was a little disappointing. And I thought about just running it back with Logan Fano. Then I found this guy, man, Jeremiah Cooper, DB, Iowa State. In the last 2 years, man, this guy's had 7 interceptions, 18 pass breakups. And Iowa State, they're going to play in some good games, man. And I think if I'm wrong in my championship game prediction and Iowa State makes it, and you're right, definitely see Jeremiah Cooper winning that. And safety is the one position where I think as a DB you can make an impact to kind of get these individual awards.
I like that one. I defensive player of the year in the Big 12. Like it was kind of easy last year. I feel like we got off a little bit easy with Travis Hunter. I put his last name is Hunter, but he's Lee Hunter, a defensive tackle, Texas Tech. I just think, like I said, I have him in my title game. I think he might with that. Like I just think he'll get if that defense is better, get a lot of the props for like, oh, they can actually get to the quarterback. Last year they allowed 34 points a game. This year it's like 18 or whatever it could be. We already talked about our newcomer a little bit. We both had Devin
Devin
Dampier.
Dampier,
We
if
said it
guys,
first.
yeah, I mean seriously, if you guys haven't seen him play, and he is really really good, and he's in a perfect system for him to thrive. My disappointment
Hmm.
of the year, it's not going to be a full disappointment, but it's Kansas State. And it's Kansas State because for the last 2 or 3 years, they've been chosen to win the Big 12. And I guess they beat TCU during their playoff year. But it's kind of been like their conference to take over in a sense. Like they've kind of turned into the big dog. And these Avery Johnson teams, like you have to win one. And I think they're gonna miss the playoff and miss the Big 12 championship game again, man. Like and for that fan base, I think that's a disappointment. I don't think you have to win a national championship at K-State, but I do think that their fan base expects Big 12 titles. So for that, it's not a complete disappointment because I think they'll be
Right.
fine, but I don't have them in the championship game.
No, totally. Excuse me. Totally understandable. I have Arizona State, and it's kind of for a lot of the same reasons. I don't. I honestly think Arizona State could have the same record that they did last year, or maybe even 9-3. But I think it'll be disappointing to their fans if they don't make the playoff. Not only make the playoff, but go to shit that a freaking call made it. Like you could argue a call made it to where they didn't beat Texas in that playoff game. So when I say disappointment, I still think they could have 9, maybe even 10 wins. I just don't know that they're gonna. I don't have them winning the league, so I think their fans will be a little bit disappointed at the end of the year. Yeah, at the end
Yeah.
of the season, I should say.
Yeah. It'll be interesting, but man, I really do love the Big 12 and I'm so excited for like this conference, man. Like it really this is one of the conferences that just like it fires me up because they always have like the early games. It seems like the Big 12 plays at like every time slot too. Friday nights, Thursday nights, morning, afternoon. They'll play at night. The Big 12 now.
And they
I
have
love
the cool
watching them.
like yeah, you get like a
They got the cool
like
uniforms
there's
in the
nothing
Big
better than
12.
getting off
Like
of work, right? You get off of work at 5. It's the weekend, maybe you run out, get a quick bite to eat somewhere, get home, kinda just relax and flip on the TV, and you've got Texas Tech versus Baylor.
yep.
It's like an incredible game. That leads you into the next day with College Game Day or whatever you wanna watch,
Also, can we
and you
say some?
go from there.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
As someone who listens to some Barstool podcasts, don't know if I'm a fan of the Big Noon Edition, man. Don't know, man. I might be out, and I might have to make a deal with the devil, our friend Herb. I think
I
Herb needs to turn heel and just like, tell a lot. I don't know how I feel. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, no, I don't it's so is it just Portnoy or is it the whole
It sounds like it's gonna be, like, a lot of people. It sounds like Portnoy's gonna be on the desk, which, like, pisses me off because, like, I think there's, like, 9 people at that company that like college sports more than Dave Portnoy, who could do a way better job.
Yeah, and it's definitely like and I one of his shows, the Unnamed Show, I love. I find Dave Portnoy very,
Yeah,
very,
same.
very funny.
I find him
I
very entertaining too.
I also like and it's the same thing, like, I love Part of My Take, but I wouldn't it's kinda like my thing with, like it seems like they think by adding Portnoy, it's gonna be like the Pat McAfee ad, and I'm someone who I'm like, "Alright, I like Pat McAfee," but sometimes I'm like, "Will you, like, just act normal for, like, 2
Yeah, no,
seconds?"
seriously.
Like, I don't need everything to be, like, about and I don't even I
It's
think
it's like
and I
clip
respect him
farming.
for trying
It
yeah,
seems like a social media move to me, but
yeah, and, like, I
what do we
respect
know?
him for, like, trying to get people to watch and stuff, but sometimes I'm like, "No, like, I wanna hear, like, your guys' actual, like I don't need some, like, you trying to
Michigan
be
bit.
funny."
Yep.
Yeah, like, just say what you're thinking about, like, the game and stuff, like, that is what makes College Game Day really good. So, like, you can have the funny, like, stuff too, I'm not saying it has to be this serious show,
Yeah,
but
the Try That in a Small Town podcast. Make sure you give that sorry.
they need to fire whoever thought of that as an idea.
Look, hey,
Needs to be fired
as
immediately.
someone as 2 people who could not come up with a great podcast name, so we are just like, "You know what? My last name's alright, your nickname's cool, let's just slap it on." I guarantee you that is I seriously could think of 8,000 things to call my podcast other than the Try That in a Small Town podcast. Herb Street,
I
you
would
have to know. Herb Street, you have to know better. Also, to the people who said that Kirk Herbstreit when Kirk Herbstreit tweeted, "Not a fan of the Superman movie," and to the person who replied, "Really? I thought you would like a movie about your stupid ass dog following you everywhere." Jail. You
I'm
need to go
not
to jail.
commenting on that because I might have been gotten annoyed with the dog being everywhere for in a private setting. I might have mentioned that to the fellows before, like, "Alright, I'm getting enough of this freaking dog.
Jail.
Enough of the
Look.
dog. Ole Miss is losing to LSU right now. I don't give a shit about your dog, Kirk Herbstreit." Oh, yeah. We got next week or couple weeks, we have ACC, and then I'm
Then
almost
we'll
thinking we should probably do we might want have to do the following week our, uh, Notre
G12.
Dame
We'll
yeah.
we'll do Notre Dame, G5, and honestly, who knows? Maybe maybe I throw a little teaser. Maybe we go less G5, less Notre Dame. Uh, kind of breakdown, and that's the week that we drop our 12 team prediction at the end of the show.
That are
Maybe
subject to change.
always so subject to change, and maybe we bring we talk about him so much. It's like in the Settle Down Cinematic Universe, resident Sooner fan. Maybe we get him on. Maybe we get his takes.
Yeah, I do wanna do a thing with Cody just to see because for those of you who don't know Cody, he likes to tell the same story over and over again. So I would like to almost see every week this year if we can just get him to repeat. Like, we can just bait him into telling the same story on the podcast every week.
Oh
Something
my
about
god.
Oklahoma's DBs being too small, but yeah,
Yep.
we're getting close. We are
We're a month
I
away,
wonder
dude. We are a month
yeah, a month
away.
away.
By the time this gets released, we will be a month away from college football. Wow. I'm so excited, man. But as always, thank you all for listening. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on the Instagram. Make sure you like the videos, watch the clips, share the clips. It has been so awesome to see you guys watching the clips from the show, and we're not even in season yet, and seeing some of how the YouTube short clips are doing, man. And we're just so grateful for all you guys who are listening and watching, man. It's part of the reason why we do it. Obviously, we love sports, but we love bringing college sports to all of you guys. Zooch, anything else before we end the show?
Nothing else. Everybody go check out the Fantastic Four this weekend. Show some respect to the first family of Marvel, please.
I'm throwing up the 4. Hey, I've been throwing up the 4s for a while, man. You can find a picture of me in Hawaii in a wetsuit, man. I'm throwing up the 4s. I was throwing up the 4s in high school, man. The faux, man. Faux. You can actually, if someone finds the clip on my graduation, I throw up a 4 for 4.
There you go.
Wendy's
Yep,
faux for
yep.
faux.
Go enjoy these summer movies. You know what? Get back into them. There's a few out right now that are pretty good, and don't go to the movies when college football starts unless you go on like a Tuesday. It's not
Amen
during
to
the
that,
week.
brother. All right. Godspeed, everyone. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.